As you can see, the deception and engagement, for that matter, is not exactly the sport for the masses, but we appreciate all who came for the good content.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask you, please lock the door.
So nobody escapes.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming. I will start with the question, do you currently engaging with your adversaries? Should you even do it? How can you do it, or when you can do it?
My colleague and I will use this great opportunity to explain you that the time is now. But before we will start, we need to go through some disclaimers. This presentation and its content was not created by any vendor or AI, except a few images you will see. What's the worst? All ideas inside are ours, mostly mine. Yeah, so please be kind. This material is quite hard. It's not like things click here, click there, and you will get your certificate at the end. It's about changing your attitude, changing your thinking about the defense. So we will go slowly, step by step, to give you the best experience. Apparently, you are interested in who we are. Jan?
Yeah, we are defenders from the Czech Republic. It's the small country in the middle of Europe. And we are trying to defend the government cloud, which is the part of the critical infrastructure of the state. My colleague here, his name is Ondřej Nekovář, and that's hard to pronounce even for the Czech people. So we just call him Direttore. But he is CISO, our CISO, and he's also the Chief Deception Officer. He's white, not much now, but and manager.
That's all?
Oh, I forgot. The people usually said he's the best boss.
Yeah. What to say? This is his opinion, and I have to accept it. Yeah, maybe I shouldn't. I don't know. But let me introduce my dear colleague, Jan Paul, for French speakers, Jean Paul, of course. He is a very good threat hunter and my right-hand man in a battlefield of cyberspace. And he's a really good deceiver, please remember it. What we have already done in our 7 years as trainers and speakers.
We had a lot, but the first time we had less than 22 people in the audience. We lead our own research in the field of active cyber defense, counterintelligence, deception, and detection engineering. We were speaking on the numerous conferences like Black Hat, Qubit, or Hacklu, mostly, of course, in Europe, and many others.
For the reason to create a community of good hackers, we established DEFCON group for the Czech Republic, and our other activities is very important. It's about openness and equal opportunities in cyber. That's why rainbowhead.org, maybe you heard about it. So what's in the box today? We will tell you what is deception, why is it here, and why to use it in cyber. And we will show you our road to using deception and beyond.
We'll be also talking about our success, or maybe not always success, maybe some failures, obstacles we faced. And we will try to answer that question if it's really time to engage with adversaries.
And in the end, we will give you a few tips based on our experience, what to do right now and what you should think about. Before we can continue, we need to connect our minds for better understanding. You can see we are not local. Yeah. First of all, everything we say is said with a huge respect for all cybersecurity professionals in the whole world. So you have our respect, and we thank you for what are you doing.
This presentation is actually not about, or it wasn't made to be about the war or politics, but of course we have to talk about them. And it sure is not about the buying any boxes. We unfortunately don't have anything to sell you today.
So, this presentation is about using common sense. Believe me or not, it's in a short everywhere in the world. So why you need common sense? Because you need to convince your people to change something, to change your attitude, and you need your people. You can be alone. So you need to convince them to need something more, to go in proactive way. The best thing you can do is to start right now with practicing it to change, because only your experience can change anything. So Jan, please tell these people about what is this presentation.
We will be talking also about the advanced attitude in the cyber security, about the using intelligence for yourself and your organization, and think about it about part of the process, not just the standalone solution. And we will also show you some practical use case of our engagement with the adversary.
So I have to be honest right now. We will enjoy it, and we hope that you will enjoy it too. Thank you. Are we connected? Is it clear about what we started? So thanks. We will be surprised if anyone here doesn't heard about deception or cyber deception. But don't be stressed. We have only one definition you will ever need, and it's quite simple. Please, yeah, give it to them.
The cyber deception is actually nothing more than act of causing someone to accept as true or valid something what is actually false or invalid.
Thanks. As you can see on this real world dog, it was not generated. He is pretending he didn't do anything. He is deceiving, of course. Or you can see me driving my new Mercedes to my job.
That's what I say a minute before.
Jan, do we have any good examples of using deception in our history?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, from the humble beginnings of the humankind, we are using deception because it's profitable. We are using for the hunting and for fighting, for all other things. But remember the mammoth hunters in the Stone Age, traps to get their food. Or if you fast forward to World War II, inflatable tanks, as you see on the picture. Or we can remember two famous operations of that time, which was Operation Overlord or the British intelligence masterpiece, Operation Mincemeat. Well, those are past things, but do we have something current, something what will be, what waits for us in future?
Of course. As a matter of fact, the modern cyber deception history begins once the honeypot as a service was implemented. Do you remember, I believe you do, Cliff Stoll, Cuckoo Egg book? And as it usually goes in IT and especially cyber community, it started to pick it up. So now we have honey everything and fake anything and decoy everywhere. That's the status of of these days. For the future, there is focus on within the researches on adaptive techniques. Yeah, dynamically adapting to your environment and adapt behavior of deception tools in your environment. So we will be really surprised if anybody here never heard about Stuxnet.
Yeah. Stuxnet, you may say it's like old history. It's 15, 20 years ago. But Stuxnet changed everything in the cyber world. And it brings the unprecedented level of sophistication in deception tactics. It includes the multiple zero-day exploits, targeted specific industrial system, cause actually physical damage, and all that while remaining undetected for a long period of time. So this was very technical stuff in deception, but we can use deception for completely different operations. Let's say for some influencing. Do you have any example of that?
Yeah, I have. I have a full folder of Vulkan files. About what is Vulkan files? It was created by private sector, and it's about tools, manuals, and methodologies for cyber operatives. For instance, Crystal 2V practicing. And it was created for the state of Russia and its organizations. I guess that you know GRU and their group, or Linked group, Sandworm, or SVR, FSB. And it was surprised that these documentation methodologies was leaked very short after the conflict or war, we call it war, between Russia and Ukraine. And it was leaked by Deutsche Zeitung. And do you know where everything happened? Where are the operations led? It's under this guy, I believe that you know him, and it's in his circus. Not surprised. So.
Well, now I hope we have some basics, so we can introduce our anti-hype policy, right? So we can move on.
Yeah, it's very important. What is the current status of deception tools market? Good news for salesmen, very good. The sales goes up, and we have a few big players already and many startups working on it. Yeah, and we very appreciate it because they moving borders in this area. But it's the product to be sold. And as usual, it's about quick buy and then think about what to do with it. So please don't do it. We use these tools too. They are great, but don't buy any boxes without thinking about what you needed and without any processes. And these things, this thinking about it, led us to our crash course. Let's dig deeper.
Our crash course, or our history with started with our conflict with reality. We find out that the reactive parts of defense, to waiting for something to happen and then react maybe 2 weeks after, is not the future. And we need something more in that defense, something more active, proactive.
And it was our wake-up call to go to proactive way. Don't waiting for alerting from any tool, but act. And it was our road to cyber deception and beyond. The beyond is important here.
It actually started as our hobby. We just do some boxes in the lab and do and see what we can do with it. And that led us, after some time, to our idea that actually deception will save us. So we were starting talking about, okay, we just turn off all the firewalls and all the other reactive parts, and we will just use the deception technologies. It doesn't work. And deception will probably never work as standalone solution.
Yeah. And do you know that feeling inside that you know that something is good and you are on the right way, but it's still not enough. Now we know that we can do it as a hobby. We need to do it in a serious way as a professionals. Okay, so I hope that you are still wake up. We're going through nicely based on our plan for this presentation. So once we knew that we have to be professionals in this area, we needed to find some theory. But theory in deception, even 7 years ago, was too wide. So we needed to frame it and use it then. So we choose one theory, which is called active cyber defense, gray zone. Jan, please explain. What was it?
Active cyber defense is actually the second definition you need to know in this presentation. And it's strategy in cybersecurity that involves actively seeking to identify, counteract, prevent cyber threats, and waste resources of adversary rather than just passively waiting for an attack to occur.
Okay, where is deception?
Yeah. To answer that question, we have to go back in time.
Okay, it all started in 2017 at Washington University, where they released their paper about active cyber defense gray zone, and it's all about go and no-go zones in cyber operations. But very soon we realized that it needs some evolution, to sustain its validity. That's why we create active cyber defense gray zone now in version 3.0, and it was created by DEFCON group for the Czech Republic, it's us. And unless you are FBI, CIA, Army, or Secret Services, you can't do this. For example, you can't take your adversary infrastructure down or send ransomware to your adversary. Technically you can, but you know what will be next. Your problem, not theirs. But don't be sad. You still can do that. For instance, for this topic of deception, you can use some fake account to deceive your adversary.
Yeah. Or you can just set up some honeypots or when you want to start it as we are. So we have actually good theory, but that's not enough still. We need some set of instructions, some methodology.
Okay, fortunately we have one. And we call it Active Cyber Defense Loop, ACD loop, and it contains only 6 steps. How simply? Jan, please, can you describe these 6 steps?
Yeah, we are starting on the step 1, which is intelligence gathering and evaluation. Then we created our custom risk analysis. We go to the modeling of the activity of the adversary. We're verifying our current status in our environment. And then we have the time to tune up our defense. And in the last step, we just will validate what we've done in the previous steps.
Yeah. How simple. Yeah, and for what we did it. Yeah, it's a mixture of reactive proactive and active attitudes in cybersecurity or in your defense. And it solves problem with using and deploying deception and other elements of active cyber defense gray zone. So, how it goes with our ACD in practice recipe. We have good theory, we have a unique methodology, and we need to show you how it can work on real world use case. So, and we are in the step of our successful deployment of active cyber defense. Let's prepare our Italian job. It all started on Ukraine, where on both sides, Ukraine and Russia sides, where a lot of activist groups, and one is quite known, well known. It's called No Name 057, and they are famous for their DDoS solution. It's a product, Dosia. And what in what categories of ACD gray zone we will use deception? For instance, in intelligence, for getting data, and counterintelligence for getting more and more data, and of course in detection engineering for covering blind spot in our deception. And all this information and needs we will process through our ACD loop.
The place where the deception shine most are intelligence operations. We will here use our scope will be in sources used by this group. It's mainly their Telegram channel or Telegram channels of groups which are connected to this one, their forums or where they are connecting or where they are communicating with each other, and of course analyzing the application they are using. And we are still in the passive mode. We are not engaging anybody. We are not communicating directly. We are just listening.
Yeah, and it is first opportunity to use some fake accounts, some fake persons to get this data, or just use the honeypots for collecting data passively. And on the other hand, there is a counterintelligence. And you know, maybe you ask why counterintelligence and what does it mean? It's another strategy how to protect your organization data, knowledge, and information. How? It's about actively engaging with your adversaries on the other side, not waiting for passive intelligence, but actively talking with the adversaries via their forums, etc.
And it's basically the same sources we will use, but for different things. Application analysis is right, but we can use now the accounts as fake personas to be somebody else, to start talking with the moderators, with the members of the group, and try to get the informations. And we will use the fake accounts for all kinds of registrations and buying things and stuff like that. So now basically we have all we need to put our use case through our loop to see if it works. We will start, as we already saw, on the step 1 and on the 6, but you can follow the right side, the numbers, so you can see which step we are at.
So first step, intelligence input. Goal of this step is retrieve to as much information as possible. And where to get them? From the sources which are home for groups like No Name 057, Telegram channels, or forums like Infinity and many, many others. It's still changing. And or even private conversation with the group member, but there you are hidden behind fake account.
Yeah, you can also, in this case, we just set up the honeypot for the DDoS attacks. Because this case, it's quite simple. You don't need any fake documents or rules to, you don't facing the adversary who is inside of your environment. He is outside, external. But sure, you can, you have to share your information with the trusted partners. And in the next slide, I will tell you why word trust is important here.
Yeah. As intelligence output, we will get unified report. For example, we are using for collecting and sharing data MISP platform, and it's for free. And in this tool, we have unified information about actors, their tradecraft, and their behaviors. And we also created our custom object entity in MISP for tracking conversations, people, and keep up with them. Yeah, so, and yeah.
And I have to finish the trust part from the last slide. Of course, when we analyze this application, yeah, and it's really easy to get it one because you just go to Telegram channel and download it. We of course find that user agent which is used. It's special for this application. Got some strange get headers. Have some strange communication with their command channel, and encrypt some strings somehow. So according to this, we create our detection for us and for our customers. Like year after that, the one company in our country, so we will not say its name, but they publish this report publicly to anyone who can read.
Yeah. And do you know what happened next? In 2 months, No Name fixed all the things which worked in our detection and our countermeasures. But it was not ruined only for us, but for all professionals who knew how to do it right and who knew how to keep a secret. It's very important here. So
and that's why the trust is important.
Yeah. Next step is about conducting risk analysis, but it's based on our custom methodology. It's not easy job. It's not about, hey, here is 3 pages methodology, simply follow it and you will win. This part, this step is very complex and broad. We can talk about it later, but there is no time. And what you need to consider in this step. First of all, you have to use as input your company's risk analysis, where are stated all used measures like firewall, EDR, everything you have. But we still, it's baseline, but we still need something advanced. And that's why we need to go through our custom methodology. And another needed input is our intelligence report, where we can find TTPs or wall campaigns against which we want to build our advanced defense. So as output of this step, you will get your total risk value of TTP and wall campaign. You will also get possibility to use any countermeasures, active countermeasures to reducing risk, and you can use deception or other countermeasures to covering the blind spot in your detection and detection engineering. So you will also get the deception opportunity design. So where to put or how to use active countermeasures with some accuracy. Yeah, it's about numbers. And maybe you want to ask us where to get countermeasures. Yeah, we have a lot of sources, great sources now, former Shield, and now it's Mitra Engage, and HD from Black Hills, for instance. But our practice led us to create our own, more detailed library of it.
There is step 3 is nothing else than a graphical expression of the steps the adversary did. You will just make the picture of it, and it's because it's much better than read it from the list or the Excel sheet, right? You will get the visualization of the attack. You will get the overview of that behavior the adversary had. And also, you will get the deception opportunities, so you will see the spots where you can put some honeypots, decoys, shadow accounts, anything.
Next step is verification of your nowadays snapshot of defense. What is your quality? What works for you? What doesn't? And you can use a lot of free tools for it. As an output, you'll get your defense index in a %.
Yeah. And in step 5, you have the opportunity to tune up your setup. So you will harden your detection rules. You will be covering the blind spots actually with the elements of active cyber defense. And you should overall improve your defense index here. As output, you will have your detection rules hardened, and maybe you can start some influence operations here, like redirecting the adversary to some fake website or any place.
And the last step is the same as the fourth one. It's about testing, and your defense should be improved, of course, because it's after the step of tune up. And output is simple, better numbers.
So now we are through, and we finally getting our results, right?
Yes, we can tell you now that our defense index went from 32 to 74, or that we were able to stop 36 DDoS attacks. But numbers are not important for this presentation. We can give you a technical training for it. What's it important that we were able to block or block DDoS or restrict the downtime in case of DDoS. We're still struggling with the trust, with the sharing information about it, and we still searching for some surveyors. We know that the no-name use tool for scanning and for checking the availability of the websites. We don't know what is it, because it's hard to find, but imagine that one day you will know and you can play with them, with their controls. What about ACD?
Well, thanks to our loop, which can be yours or you can create your own one, we have perfect overview of the adversary and all the activities he got. And we know where he is and what we are planning to do with him. We are actually influencing his activities. We were able to improve detection through deception. I don't know how big your false positive is in your environment, but sure it is not like you don't have false positive. You always have some spot there, some sweet spot of detection which is like death. So you can fill this gap with the deception, with the setting the deception in these places. And of course, we have confirmation that our loop, it's just working, because our last step shows that we improve our defense and we were able to stop those attacks.
So now we can peacefully go back to our country, because we told you what we want, except one thing. It's answer for this simple question. Is it time to engage your adversaries? Jan, please, and don't be surprised, please.
Hell yeah, it is time. And we already doing it, like all of us. We don't even, sometimes don't know it. Do you remember threat hunting buzzword? Like, it was completely new, but everybody was doing it, like 10 years ago. And so we are doing that already, but we need to find the borders where to go and where we don't have to, or where we cannot go. But still, extend your horizons and do the defense differently. Don't wait for something to just happen. You can just start in the threat intelligence or counterintelligence, for instance, or detection engineering. Try to improve some very simple rule.
And what can you apply just right now? Please reconsider your attitude towards defense, go proactive way, and engage your adversaries.
And what you can think about now and do it later? Yeah?
Yeah?
Yeah, well, you should name your deception chief officer, because you don't have enough managers, and give him truckload of money.
Please implement an active cyber defense policy, or counterintelligence policy, or deception policy. But you need to start implementing processes in your company, processes. And it needs time to be agreed and accepted by especially guys from the provisioning part of your business.
Yeah, you have to also, when you're deploying the deception or any elements of the active cyber defense, you have to think where to place it, because deception always have to be believable. Okay, so you will not place Windows machine in the Linux environment. Well.
Yeah. So what did you heard today? We told you what is deception and how to use it. How we use it, not only deception, but all proactive and almost active things. And what was our practical implementation for it? And we answer you a very hard question, if it's time to engage adversaries. And we gave you some takeaways to think about. So, but maybe just one more thing is here. Imagine that you are deceiving your adversaries, but do you know that you are not deceived? Think about it and ask yourself, are you ready for the counter-deception? Maybe you are. Thank you. And now we will be surprised if there is any question.
Good afternoon. I appreciate the talk, the presentation. Cyber deception has been a passion of mine for about a decade now, so I have a host of questions, and hopefully the audience will allow me to pontificate for a bit. When you talked about the gray space and the tool that you've been working on, it sounded like you're actually functioning in the gray space of the internet, right? The sort of the infrastructure that exists between your sort of organizational infrastructure and the adversary space. Is that correct?
Not exactly.
Okay.
It's all about our activities to gain information, and it's faked. It's not our infrastructure.
Mm-hmm.
It's placed somewhere else to hide our activities, but it's not anything special than you can do right now. Yeah, just remember to buy Proton via VPN via their payment way of cash. Yeah, cash in envelope. Yeah, it's a good practice. Yeah. Did I answer?
Yeah. No, that's good. The tuning portion of your flow, about how long does that take? In my experience so far, the tuning phase has actually kind of caused some issues with our SOC environment, where we start to get more false positives than we initially anticipated, and we have to kind of go back to the tuning process. So in your experience, how long has that taken you?
Yeah.
Good.
You would like to hear a simple answer, but you have to remember that this is a loop. Once you will finish, you have to start again. And for instance, there is a 560 parts of MITRE ATT&CK TTPs. Yeah, so it's very hard. Jan will answer.
Yeah, I can quantify that. It's like when we started, it took like 2 to 3 days because we are going through the complete detection engineering process.
Okay.
But can be as short as few hours.
Gotcha. All right. I mean, that's fair. That's fair. If I may continue to ask questions, I'm not sure if there's enough time. User awareness. So in the sort of guidance that I've been developing, I've had this sort of concept of a trusted agent, and I think you mentioned something similar to that. But limiting user awareness for the insider threat concepts and help allow for cyber deception to be used for insider threat detection. Is that a part of your general implementation of cyber deception, or do you focus purely on external threat?
Okay, if I understand good. It was our first catch that we were able to catch the insider.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was a trap for you know the phishing mails. Where is a click here and you will see wages. Yeah, and it was our first trap and first use of deception. We still working on two sides, inside and outside. Yeah, insider threats and threats from outside.
And thank you for all those answers. My final question is, what metrics have you found most informative to the success of deception or active cyber defense engagement?
Engage.
Well, what metrics? Like what?
Yeah. It's the MITRE Engage, but it's like it helps you a lot because it have all these metrics and much against the attack framework and stuff, but is not granular enough. So that's what, like colleague said, we created our own library of the countermeasures, and we are actually categorize them under the engage categories. So, you're welcome.
Okay. Any others, please?
For somebody who's starting in the area of deception, are there any toolkits that we can start with? Any sort of open source frameworks that could help us?
Yeah, of course. I don't know if any, all people heard of you. I will repeat it. The best, or no, not best. You can find a lot of sources now on GitHub. There is sources where full of links for tools, lessons, everything, and you can use, as I said before, the Engage. You can use HDHD.
If you want to play.
HDHD from Black Hills. Yeah, it's well known.
Yeah, it's Linux distribution.
ADHD.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Deception actually is, but yeah, but the most resources are actually in GitHub under the Awesome Deception repository. So.
Yeah, awesome deception.
But it's like, you know, there is like a lot of
You want to avoid a situation where you're being deceived yourself. When
Yeah.
you go to GitHub
Yeah.
and get something that is, you know, that will infect you or impact you.
Yeah.
Mm.
You?
So.
Okay.
No, I
Nothing
don't.
else.
We're done.
Okay. Any other questions? So,
Thank you again.
thank you very much.